Hey, this is Scott of PhotographyBonza.com. Today I'm going to go over another set of photos. It wasn't just one excursion, but it was multiple with the new Nikon D7000, or new to me, it's a used one. And I also used the 50mm f1.8 lens, nice cheap sharp lens, as you'll see from some of the photos. I'm going to talk about a little bit about the camera itself and how I first started off with it and getting used to it. So let's start with some of the bad photos and I'll go to some of the better photos. Here's the camera itself on the screen with the 50mm f1.8 lens. Pretty nice size to it. So first, right off the bat, really bad photo. You've got the cat on a porch, extremely blurry. 1/30th of a second. The thing with the Nikons is that you've got the fast lenses, but they don't have any stabilization. And you also have the camera itself with no stabilization. With Pentax, I'm used to having slower shutter speeds. I just did aperture priority, but it still didn't work out properly. As you can see, I have the camera here to show you a quick reason of why this happened. You're taking a photo, you're using the center point, autofocus, and then you recompose it. But the shutter button on this camera is extremely sensitive. It's very different than the Pentax ones. There's just a very slight difference between autofocus, you gain your focus, half press, and then you fully press down. It's just a really slight difference. It takes some getting used to. So as I was focusing and then recomposing, I pressed the shutter button too much, and that happened. Something new to get used to. Similar thing with this, a little bit blurry again, some more blur. That is partly with the shutter speed because of no stabilization, but also with that recompose. I just needed to improve my technique. Again, with that, a little bit blurry. Just keeps happening. I take a few photos and then I keep improving a little bits, and these are the bad ones of that group. So you can see there's some blur there, improving slightly. This one was relatively sharp, but still there are better ones of that group. Again, more blur. It was an overcast day, but still issues with that. As I learned, this was with the camera, first, second time using it, just getting used to it. So that was about it for the worst photos. This one looks a little bit blown out. Should have given it some exposure compensation or something. It's just using aperture priority with automatic ISO. It defaults to 1/30th of a second with automatic ISO. It works differently than the Pentax. You can set your minimum shutter speed, and I just had it at default. I didn't change it, but you really want to increase that to a faster shutter speed, unless you're extremely skilled at holding a camera still. I'm not so much, at least not yet. So here's one of the better photos. You can see right off the bat, nice, super sharp. It was still at the slow shutter speed, but I managed to make it happen on this one. Nice sharp photo. The water really helps in that situation. Very nice, I think. Again, here, another sharper photo. That worked out a little better than the previous one. Yet again, sharper in the situation. The focus was spot on for the flower here. I wanted this foreground just to see how it turned out, like that. And here, significantly better than the previous one. Let's look at that in detail. Nice, sharp, pretty nice photo. So that's 100%. So you can see it just takes some practice to get used to whatever tool you're using. If you're not used to some certain brand or something, it just takes a little bit of time to work that out. So here's the better version of the water spout photo. Nice, sharp, good contrast to it. and some blur from the f1.8. So that's maximum aperture. Still very nice sharp photo to it. Let's see that in some close-up. So pretty good. It's a cheap lens, but it is very nice for the price. So here's another pretty nice contrast. Looks a little bit blurry, but not too bad. Again, one of the better photos of the one I just showed that I disliked. Nice photo that it's not blown out. Pretty sharp and interesting textures to it. Here's about the last one I'm going to go over. This was of a car, like the water droplets, of course, very nice, but super thin depth of field. Although it's at f4, it was so close to the subject, you get the blurring from the thin depth of field in that situation. So that was about it for the first Nikon photos. Of course, every new tool takes some practice, and I think I managed some interesting stuff even just starting off. So use your previous skills to base it off of new ones you have to develop with those new tools. So that's about it. Thanks.